Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. Unless you happen to live in Modesto, California, then every day is a nut day thanks to your beloved single A ball club, the Modesto Nuts. It is a silly name and set of mascots that has worked really well for the town, just not well enough for the team to stick around. Also, some folks do still pine for the old Modesto A's, but that's neither here nor there. In Modesto, the city has welcomed a whole host of MLB All-Stars, award winners, Hall of Famers, and guys playing in the big leagues right now as we speak. That tradition will be ending at the end of this season in about 30 games or so. The franchise hastily announced to its fans that it will no longer be playing in Modesto. Instead, it has become another victim of minor league baseball's greed-driven cull. It is a sad story for a franchise that has been playing in the California League since 1946, the oldest active team still participating, by the way. You want to know just how old the Modesto Single A Ball Club is? Their first affiliate after moving away from independence in 1946 and 47 were none other than the St. Louis Browns. Suffice to say, they are pretty old. Funny story, by the way, the team was actually called the Modesto Reds, even though they were a St. Louis Browns affiliate. This had to do with Modesto's baseball team actually having been around since the early 1900s with the name Red Caps and then the Modesto Reds. I'll put a link to a story from historicmodesto.com about the history of the town and America's pastime. Long story short though, Modesto has a long, rich history with the sport of baseball. And all of that has now been discarded like a used tissue because minor league baseball is slowly devolving into a monopoly, where towns across America are held up at proverbial gunpoint by diamond baseball robbers. Hold on one second, I'm getting a quick note right here. Oh, it's actually Diamond Baseball Holdings. Easy mistake to make though. Like all sports teams' relocations, this is all about the stadium. In this case, John Thurman Field, a fairly unremarkable place to play baseball. Built in 1955, the stadium has undergone numerous renovations and upgrades over the years. Nothing too grandiose or spectacular, enough to keep it in good working order. In the modern day, though, being in good working order is no longer enough for a minor league baseball stadium, apparently. According to the Modesto Bee, the Modesto City Council was told an estimated $32 million in improvements to John Thurman Field were required by Major League Baseball, with the city expected to foot most of the bill if it wanted to keep the team around. That figure makes no sense. Is MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred demanding the Nuts have a Joshua Reynolds painting hanging in the clubhouse? How the hell would they ever spend anything close to $32 million? This, by the way, would be like dropping a bunch of cash on 22-inch spinner rims for your 1996 Ford Escort. Could you do it? Sure. Should you do it? No, absolutely not. It's pointless. This brings us to the curious aspect of the Modesto Nuts plight. They are actually owned by their parent ball club, the Seattle Mariners. A team, by the way, that raked in profits of more than $80 million in 2022. Do keep that in mind here. The parent ball club basically said they were not paying for these upgrades, most of which are player development related. Let's sit down and think about this, truly think about this, shall we? We know the Seattle Mariners want to develop their prospects to the best of their ability. They also own the Modesto Nuts, whose facilities they have deemed not to be up to snuff. But they don't want to pay to improve player development facilities, which are now required by Major League Baseball. Requirements they had a hand in approving be mandated on all MLB affiliated minor league clubs, including the one they own. Just no wonder baseball's dying, folks. The NFL is greedy as hell, but at least they're fairly open about it. At this point, those running baseball make Quark from Deep Space Nine seem like Mother Teresa. The city of Modesto was presented with another option for keeping the Nuts in town in 2021. A group of local business people were basically backed by the Mariners ownership group to come up with plans for a new downtown stadium. They presented some nice looking renderings and a quoted price of $85 million to $122 million for the designs. And hey, they were even going to chip in $10 million in financing. How generous of them. or not. These plans were so utterly unrealistic on so many levels. For starters, the city of Modesto spending $100 million or so on a new baseball stadium when it had a perfectly working one would have been government malpractice. Second, the group behind the new stadium framed this project as being one that would make Modesto a more popular city, a place more people would want to live in. Yeah, sure, a single A baseball stadium is what's stopping Modesto from becoming a more popular, livable destination. Third, the financial projections for the stadium project were based on fantasies. The group claimed that the venue would run a 300-date calendar. Let's put this another way, shall we? Those who wanted this stadium to be built in downtown Modesto had assumed that essentially every day from February to November, there would be something going on at this downtown ballpark. Unless the facility was going to double as a dispensary, there was no way in hell that target was realistic, and they knew that, by the way. That brings us to the project's financial forecast, and I use that term very, very loosely. Bankers claim the ballpark would quickly pay off its bonds and even bring in revenue for Modesto. This is why backers firmly believe the city should foot the bill. But if the stadium was going to be such a huge financial windfall, if it was such a scary, fantastic success in the making, why would the private sector not go ahead and build it themselves? That doesn't make any sense here. We know the private sector is greedy as all hell. If this project was such a home run, slam dunk, money-making guarantee, they would have built it themselves. Again, too, it's not like the Seattle Mariners, the owners of the Nuts, were hurting for money. This franchise was making a ton of cash. Not only that, but they wanted to have minor league affiliates that would aid in their prospects' development. Unsurprisingly, these stadium plans went absolutely nowhere. Instead, over the past few years, Modesto and the Mariners have sort of just been in this stalemate over what to do with the stadium and just how this team was going to proceed. The situation finally came to a head with the team announcing this would be its last season in Modesto. The city has tried to play nice over the situation, likely in hopes that it can find another minor league team in the future. Local officials should not hold their breath. This is where the other shoe drops. Ballpark Digest reported that the most likely destination for the Modesto Nuts is going to be San Bernardino, California. This is where Diamond Baseball Holdings enters the fray. You see, the Mariners were probably told not to do anything in Modesto because DPH wants to buy the minor league affiliate from them. However, they also have plans to move the single A ball club. Essentially, Modesto was never given a fair chance to keep the Nuts in town once it rejected that outlandish stadium proposal. Now, the soulless sucksticks of minor league baseball are going to trash another city's rich history with America's pastime so private equity can bank a few more bucks. The plans of DBH have been well known in minor league baseball circles, by the way, and have been indirectly confirmed by Ballpark Digest. Let's take a look at the brass tacks here. DBH already owns the Inland Empire 66ers of San Bernardino, who play at San Manuel Stadium. They also either have a controlling stake in or just outright own that venue. They are seemingly also getting a new stadium built in Ontario, California at the same time. Basically, DBH is puppeteering the California League to fit its agenda and ensure it controls even more of minor league baseball. Those in charge of this cartel, operation, an easy slip of the tongue though, go on and on about community and the importance of minor league baseball to towns, using empty phrases and the same boilerplate press release every time they take over a new minor league franchise. Seriously, DBH has bought more than 30 minor league ball clubs over the past 3+ years, and in more than half of the press releases to announce the acquisition, the phrase "this franchise is in good hands" is used. And it's always used to describe Diamond baseball bosses Pat Butthead and Peter Fraud. Sorry, I just have a note coming into me. Oh, it's actually Pat Battle and Peter Freund. You know, I don't know why I keep making these mistakes today. My bad though, I apologize. Anyway, the Killer Peas continue to slaughter minor league baseball from coast to coast, holding towns hostages, putting the proverbial bullet in their head when they don't pay the ransom of a new stadium. For decades, for generations, Modesto has been home to single-A baseball played in a very modest stadium that in many ways is befitting for the town. It didn't need a $110 million new ballpark. It probably didn't need $32 million worth of upgrades to meet MLB's minor league standards. Some work was certainly needed, I'm not going to deny that, but what John Thurman Field truly needed to get up to standards was never actually revealed to the city. They kept getting these ridiculous estimates, these over-the-top demands that weren't based in reality. All of this is a far cry from Sunday, October 14th, 1962. The New York Yankees and San Francisco Giants turned up to Modesto needing a place to practice. A typhoon had made Candlestick Park unplayable. Not even batting practice could take place. However, Modesto's quaint little ballpark provided the major league sides with a place to shake off the rust after days and days and days of rain delays. Thousands of people turned out to see Baseball Hall of Famers hit, pitch, and field. It's a day that lives on in Modesto folklore. Somehow, a ballpark that was good enough for Willie Mays, Mickey Mantle, Roger Maris, Willie McCovey, and Whitey Ford, among others, during the World Series isn't suitable for single-A baseball today? Maybe that's true. Or maybe those running minor league baseball have simply lost sight of what the sport is truly about, what it means to towns like Modesto, because without them, there's no America's pastime. Modesto, Stanislaus County, I feel for you. This has been a terrible situation you've had to go through, and you do not deserve to lose your minor league baseball team. Thank you for watching this video. If you'd like to learn more about what exactly is happening in minor league baseball, the true awfulness of it all, video upper right hand corner of your screen, and to learn more about how truly just wretched Seattle Mariners ownership is, video lower right hand corner. Until next time, I'm Shine Hollis. This is The Touchback. Keep your head up, Modesto, and as always, hashtag take it out to the 25.